In the top stories, Ministry of Public Infrastructure hosting activities to mark Public Works Week. Juvenile implicated in a robbery in Grenada, and new clues surface in search for missing children following plane crash in Colombia. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Thursday, the 25th of May 2023. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure is observing Public Works Week from May 21 to 27 to increase awareness across St. Kitts and Nevis of the importance of public works and to celebrate workers who have shown dedication to serving the general public. The week-long observance is celebrated under the theme Connecting the World through Public Works. During his appearance on Wednesday's edition of the program In Focus, Director of the Public Works Department, George Gilbert, spoke about the significance of the theme.
How do we connect the world through public work? Is that we do it through infrastructure. We build roads, we build bridges, we maintain roads, we maintain bridges. Also, in connecting the world through public work, we actually maintain the hospitals, community centers. So without this kind of interaction and interfacing, it means that there would be no roads to traverse on, no you and me to go to the hospital, etc., in the community.
Mr. Gilbert said that a week of activities is planned to give the workers a chance to, quote-unquote, come together to socialize. He said the week is also set aside to bring awareness to how essential the Public Works Department is. The week opened with a church service on Sunday, and on Monday was designated as Give Back Day, where staff went out into the community to present care packages to past staff members.
There are some persons who would have worked public works many years ago and they're at home. So what we do is that we actually ask the staff to bring dry goods, corned beef, tuna, Viennese sausage, cornflakes, etc., and we made some packages and we took them to these individuals within the from public work. So what we try to do, identify at least one person from each division, and we actually went out and gave them the food package.
Tuesday, May 23, was set aside for a staff exchange where mechanics from Nevis Public Works journeyed to St. Kitts for the day and vice versa to work. A movie was scheduled for the evening of May 24, another socializing event for staff. On Thursday, May 25, staff engaged in a health and wellness day at the Public Works Division, and a health walk is set for this afternoon. Staff will come together on May 26 for divisional cleaning, while the week climaxes on May 27 with a fun and sport day at the Connery Playfield. The general public is invited to take part in the activities scheduled from May 25 to 27. Emergency Medical Services Week, which is being celebrated from May 21 to 27, under the theme Where Emergency Care Begins, is being celebrated. This year's commemoration marks the 49th year of celebrations, which highlights the EMS's profession, its dedicated workers, and the important role they play to safeguard the health, safety, and well-being of all people. This week's celebrations began with a church service at Reformation Fellowship Church on Sunday, May 21, and continued on Monday with a special appearance on Healthwise, a radio program of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, with Dr. Joyette Woodley Facel, medical surgeon at the Joseph N. France General Hospital, president of the St. Kitts Nevis Medical and Dental Association, and head of EMS. On Tuesday, May 23, the EMS deployed on-call ambulance teams who visited the St. Paul's Primary School, Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School, and Maurice Hillier Primary School to educate the students on the EMS's function in the community and how it aids the sick and injured. There was equipment demonstration by medical professionals during the show and tell portion of the ambulance exhibit. The second phase of school visits will convene on Thursday, May 25 at the Keon High School, Virchels High School, and Immaculate Conception Catholic School. On Wednesday, May 24, an EMX exhibition was held in West Independence Square. On Friday, March 26, there will be a motorcade in honor of all EMS workers in the country throughout the streets of Basse-Terre. It begins at 3:30 p.m. The route will begin from the JNF General Hospital, continue to CFBC, then to the Cenotaph War Memorial, then down the Bay Road, passing the Craft House onto Pond Street, passing the Independence Square, back onto 4th Street, to Keon Street, and end back at JNF General Hospital. The week of celebrations will conclude on Sunday, 28th May, with a special dinner for the EMS professionals and specially invited guests at the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions Kuna Conference Room from 7 p.m. In other news, the Solid Waste Management Corporation, or SWMC, welcomed its new general manager on Wednesday at the SWMC conference room. Nelvin Maynard has been named the new general manager of the corporation and is backed by a 7-member board of directors. Maynard, who has a vast background in accounting and business management, is essential to SWMC's bid to becoming financially viable, according to the Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, Minister of Environment, which operates the SWMC. She says the ministry is strategic in putting at the helm of the corporation and the board the new leadership which comes from government financial departments, and that it is important to acknowledge the need for SWMC to be intentional about making a financial pivot so that the institution could better serve all of the residents of St. Kitts with efficient disposal of household waste and cost-effective industrial and residential waste disposal. Explaining the process of selection, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment, Sharon Rattan, said the position was advertised and attracted 11 applicants. She said the applications were vetted by the Human Resources Department and 5 persons were interviewed in front of a panel that included the head of the civil service. Additionally, Dr. Clark told the new board that she wants SWMC to transition from how it currently operates to a framework of sustainable waste management systems that will limit the strain that is already experienced at the landfill. The minister and PS Rattan extended heartfelt gratitude to Judith Isles, who functioned as the institution's acting general manager for the past 7 months, as well as the staff for its patience and cooperation during the transition. Moving now to news on the regional scene. A 17-year-old student is one of 2 young men arrested by police and jointly charged with the offense of robbery with violence. The charge relates to the robbery of the armed robbery of the Green Dot Limited internet service provider outlet on Cross Street, St. George's last Thursday. More in this GBN News report out of Grenada.
21-year-old Ashay Marshall, an IT trainee of Parade St. George, along with a juvenile, are accused of using an imitation gun to stage a robbery at Green Dot Limited, in which $790 was stolen. Both men were apprehended by police on Sunday, 3 days after a video of the daring incident went viral on social media. They made their first appearance at the St. George's Magistrates Court before Chief Magistrate Teddy St. Louis. Marshall, an employee of the St. George's University, up to the time of his arrest, is being assisted in the matter by attorney Peter David, who was able to secure bail for him in the amount of $50,000 with one surety. The 21-year-old suspect, who has no previous convictions, must also submit his travel documents to the court and report to Central Police Station on Wednesdays between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Meanwhile, the juvenile, who is being represented in court by attorney Anselm Clouden, has been remanded to the Grand Bacolet Rehabilitation and Treatment Center, where he will undergo counseling as part of the juvenile offenders curriculum. Attorney Clouden says his client's case highlights the need for a court to deal specifically with juvenile matters. Robbery with violence carries a maximum penalty of 30 years imprisonment. Both Marshall and the juvenile are scheduled to return to court on June 30th. For GBN News, I'm Misha Paul.
With the Atlantic hurricane season fast approaching, Caribbean countries are preparing. Dominica, one of the hardest hit by natural disasters in recent times, says they've rebuilt with resilience at the center. CBC's Crystal Hoyt has that story.
The Caribbean island of Dominica is no stranger to natural disasters, with a Category 5 hurricane destroying over 90% of its housing back in 2017. Today, the country is still recovering, but Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt says it's building back better.
With regards to resilience, we look at the infrastructure. So in terms of the construction of our bridges, we employ new engineering practices and techniques, and we believe that they're working. Road construction, we have also employed new engineering techniques and methods. Our homes, where we have focused heavily on resilience building, because what we want to have, my friend, is that every home in Dominica, every house in Dominica can be treated as a hurricane shelter.
Prime Minister Skerritt says the implementation of stronger building codes was needed and is urging other Caribbean islands to build with resilience in mind.
I think Dominica can be used as a case study. I think Caribbean countries need to study what happened to Dominica and what has been our response. Because the reality is, every one of our countries in the Caribbean is at risk and is vulnerable to natural disasters. And it doesn't have to take a Category 5 hurricane. It could take a Category 1 hurricane, Category 2, Category 3.
Within its building codes, Dominica has stipulated the use of heavier galvanized and hurricane straps. We
are in a much better position now than we were in 2017. And I believe, by the grace of God, that if God forbid we were to be visited by a hurricane, Dominica will be a much better place to withstand the impact of a hurricane on us.
The Atlantic hurricane season begins in a few days. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Internationally, Colombia's army says it has found new clues in the search for 4 indigenous children who appear to have survived a plane crash last month. The group includes an 11-month-old baby. They were on board a small plane that crashed in the southern Caqueta province. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
After weeks of searching, new clues revealed on Wednesday have renewed hope for the fate of 4 children missing in the Colombian Amazon jungle. A Nucac indigenous woman found a pink baby bottle cap, the case of a smartphone, and most importantly, a used diaper. They are the latest signs that the children survived the crash on May 1st and set off into the rainforest.
We found a makeshift shelter for 3 people, and we found a used diaper, a pair of blue shoes, which we can assume belongs to the 4-year-old boy, and a path that gets lost after 100 meters to the southwest of our search area. So we know that the 4 children were alive after the crash of the aircraft.
The plane that had taken off from a remote village crashed deep into the jungle. The body of the children's mother and another 2 adults were found last week when soldiers managed to reach the crash site after days of severe weather. Since then, the operation has continued around the clock beneath the dense forest canopy. The children are aged 13, 9, 4, and 11 months. The relatives say they know the jungle well. Some 200 indigenous people have arrived in recent days to assist the military operations, some performing rituals to clear the way and find the children. The fate of the 4 children has become a national issue. President Gustavo Petro drew global attention to the incident, tweeting the children had been found. He later deleted it, saying the information was not confirmed. On Friday, the military released a map of the area of operation covering a stretch of jungle of over 300 square kilometers and saying they will continue searching until the children are found. From above, Colombian aircraft are using loudspeakers to play messages from the kids' grandmother in their native language and launching survival kits and pamphlets into the jungle. But despite the new clues, with every passing day, the hope of finding the children alive drops a little, leaving an entire country holding its breath and praying for a breakthrough. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
A brawl has broken out on the
A paralyzed man has regained the ability to walk using only his thoughts thanks to new technology that restored communication between his brain and spinal cord. More in this report.
A man paralyzed in a bike accident 12 years ago is able to walk again thanks to a groundbreaking neurosurgical project developed in France and Switzerland. The technique involves using implants to restore communication between the brain and damaged spinal cord. The patient triggers the implant in his brain through thought and connects it wirelessly to the one in his spine.
Within 5 to 10 minutes I could control my hips, like they were like the brain implant picked up what I was doing with my hips, so that was like the best outcome, I think, for everyone.
The recent breakthrough is the result of 10 years of work by researchers in both countries. In previous experiments, patients used a button to stimulate leg movement. Now it's all in the mind.
When everything is installed, the patient has first to learn how to work with his brain signals, and we also have to learn how to correlate this brain signal to the spinal cord stimulation. But this is pretty short. In a few sessions, everything is linked and the patient starts training.
It required several months of physical and mental training for Ger Jan to master the new technology. Though his movement is still very limited, he can now walk over rough terrain and even climb stairs.
And now for the weather. Present weather is fair skies. The temperature for today is 31 degrees Celsius or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are a light air of 3 miles per hour. Seas are moderate with waves of 3 to 5 feet. The weather forecast in St. Kitts and Nevis today will be partly sunny with a 50% or moderate chance of brief showers. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a 30% or low chance of brief showers. Sunset today will be at 6:39 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:36 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.